The tall Queen Zelara of the mighty Vraxian Empire stood on the observation deck watching. As the human diplomatic vessel approached her homeworld, the iridescent scales on her skin shifted to a cautious blue-green as she contemplated the upcoming meeting. Vraxians had conquered 12 star systems with ease, their superior technology and physical might, making them unstoppable until they encountered humans. These strange bipedal creatures, barely 7 feet tall with soft skin and only 2 arms, had somehow managed to halt the Vraxian advance at the edge of their solar system. The resulting stalemate led to this unprecedented peace negotiation. Donna, the royal advisor, approached with caution. Her lower arms folded in respect, while her upper arms held a data tablet the humans have sent their terms. Your Majesty, Zelara turned her 4 eyes focusing on the tablet with interest. The humans proposed a marriage alliance, an ancient custom that Vraxians themselves had abandoned centuries ago, yet still respected for its symbolic power. They offer a male consort of high standing among their kind to serve as your mate and solidify peace between our worlds. Donna explained, her skin rippling with skepticism. The Queen considered this with interest. Vraxian females had always been the dominant gender. Males in their species were smaller, less intelligent, used primarily for breeding and menial tasks. The concept of taking a human male as consort was peculiar, yet intriguing. "Show me this offering," Zelara commanded. The screen displayed an image of a human male named Jack, of average height for his species, with dark hair and eyes that revealed nothing of his thoughts. He appeared unremarkable in every way. The Queen laughed. "This creature is what they offer to appease the might of Vraxia." Donna shifted uncomfortably. "Our intelligence suggests we should not underestimate humans." "Your Majesty, they are deceptive by nature." Zelara dismissed the warning with a wave of her upper right hand. Nevertheless, she was curious what harm could come from accepting such an offering. The worst outcome would be an entertaining diversion at court. The best, a genuine peace that would allow her forces to focus on other conquests. "Inform the humans we accept their proposal," she declared, her skin shifting to a confident purple. "Prepare the Grand Hall for a royal marriage ceremony." The human embassy received the news with apparent relief. Samantha, the lead ambassador, bowed deeply when informed of the Queen's decision. "We are honored by Her Majesty's acceptance," she said, her face revealing the strange expressions humans were known for. Behind her stood a team of human females, all with various diplomatic titles. Lily, the cultural attaché, Mary, the trade representative, and Nicole, the scientific liaison. They all seemed pleased by the development. What none of the Vraxians noticed was the subtle exchange of glances between these women, or the fact that the human male Jack, who would become royal consort, had yet to speak a single word. Preparations for the royal wedding proceeded rapidly by Vraxian standards, though the human delegation repeatedly requested adjustments to accommodate their strange customs. "We require private communications with our homeworld daily." Samantha insisted, "It is our way to seek blessing from our elders before each phase of the ceremony." Zelara granted this request with minimal concern. Her spies would monitor all transmissions anyway. Evan. Lunar cycles passed with elaborate rituals and feasts. The human Jack participated with quiet dignity, speaking only when directly addressed by the Queen, his responses brief and respectful. This pleased Zelara, who had expected either fear or arrogance from the human. Instead, he showed remarkable adaptability to Vraxian customs, even learning basic phrases in their complex language. The other females at court watched with fascination, some wagering on how long the fragile human would survive the royal bedchamber, others speculating on his purpose. "Perhaps he is more than he appears," suggested Patricia, the military commander, her battle scars shifting color with suspicion. "Nonsense," replied Donna. "He is merely well trained for his diplomatic role. Observe how he never shows emotion even when our warriors intimidate him." Indeed, Jack maintained perfect composure even when surrounded by Vraxian guards, each twice his size, with natural weapons that could tear him apart. He simply bowed and continued his duties. Zelara found herself increasingly intrigued by her future consort. She had expected to be bored by now, yet the human managed to surprise her with small observations or questions that revealed unusual insight. During the 6th cycle, she decided to test him, summoning Jack to her private chambers without warning or protocol. He arrived promptly standing before her with hands clasped behind his back, awaiting instruction. "Tell me, human," she demanded. "Why would your kind offer one of their own to an alien species known for conquering worlds?" Jack met her gaze without hesitation. "Humans understand sacrifice for the greater good. Your Majesty, one life for peace is a worthy exchange." His words seemed sincere, yet Xylara sensed layers beneath them. "Do you fear becoming my consort?" For the first time she saw a hint of emotion in his eyes, something unexpected. Not fear, but perhaps anticipation. Fear would be irrational. "Your Majesty, what will happen. I serve my purpose as you serve yours." This response surprised her. Vraxian males would never speak of purpose or duty. In such terms they existed to serve females, not to have independent thoughts. As the final cycle of the marriage ceremony approached, tensions in the palace increased. The Dravex, a rival faction within the Empire, had publicly opposed the human alliance, their warriors making threatening displays at court functions. Samantha assured the Queen that such opposition was expected. "Change always meets resistance," she said with that strange human expression they called a smile. The royal wedding culminated in a massive gathering of dignitaries from all 12 conquered systems and human representatives who arrived via special transport. No one noticed the extra security personnel the humans brought, or the fact that Jack now stood slightly taller, his posture subtly different as he took his place beside the Queen's. Xylara prepared to complete the final binding ritual. She still had no idea that everything was about to change, that the quiet human male beside her was not what he appeared to be at all. The grand ceremonial hall of the Vraxian palace sparkled with crystalline decorations, and bioluminescent flora gathered from across the Empire. Nobles from all 12 conquered systems watched with varying degrees of interest as their queen completed the final rituals binding her to the human male. Xylara towered over Jack, her 9-foot frame draped in ceremonial armor that enhanced her already imposing presence. Her forearms performed the ritual gestures with practiced precision, while her iridescent skin shifted through royal patterns of deep purple and gold. Jack stood perfectly still, his expression neutral as the Queen placed the binding crown upon his head, a symbolic gesture that officially made him royal consort. Yet something about his calm demeanor unsettled the more observant Vraxians, most notably Patricia, the military commander, who whispered to Donna, "This human shows no appropriate fear or awe. Something is wrong." Donna dismissed her concerns. Humans simply lack the emotional range to properly respond to such honor. Their primitive brains cannot comprehend the magnificence of our customs. Patricia remained unconvinced, her warrior instincts detecting something beneath the human's placid exterior, something dangerous. The ceremony concluded. The massive doors to the grand hall opened for the traditional feast. Dignitaries and warriors filed through the archways, while servants prepared the royal table on the elevated platform. Samantha and her team of human diplomats took their assigned positions near, but not at the royal table, their status as architects of the alliance earning them places of honor. Though still beneath the Vraxian nobility, the Queen took her throne with Jack seated slightly lower to her right, a position that generated murmurs among the court, though tradition dictated consorts be placed much lower. The Queen had insisted on this unusual arrangement. What no one in the vast hall noticed were the subtle movements of certain guests. How several server drones had been replaced, how the trajectory of ceremonial guards had shifted in seemingly random patterns. Jack noticed, though, his eyes tracking each discrepancy, his mind calculating threat vectors while maintaining his facade of diplomatic subservience. Lily approached the royal table with a ceremonial gift, her movements carefully choreographed to appear respectful, while allowing her to whisper to Jack, "Something is happening. Southern Quadrant 6 hostile." She gave no indication of having heard her, his face remaining impassive as he performed his role as consort, yet his muscles tensed imperceptibly beneath his ceremonial robes. Across the hall, Samantha engaged a Vraxian noble in animated conversation, her hands gesturing, expressively drawing attention away from Nicole, who was discreetly scanning the crowd with a device disguised as a cultural artifact. The feast progressed with multiple courses of exotic foods from across the Empire, speeches from notable figures, and entertainment designed to impress the human delegation. Xylara occasionally addressed Jack, asking his opinion on trivial matters. a courtesy that surprised her court. His responses were measured, intelligent enough to avoid embarrassment, yet humble enough to avoid offense. The Queen found herself genuinely curious about his thoughts, a novel experience with a consort. Her previous mates had been decorative at best, yet this human demonstrated unexpected insight. It was during the third course, when traditional Vraxian battle hymns were being performed, that the first signs of trouble appeared. A server drone approaching the royal table moved at a slightly different speed than the others, its optical sensors focused too intently on the Queen. Jack reached for his ceremonial goblet, the movement casual yet precisely timed to place his arm in the drone's sensor path. Simultaneously across the hall, Mary spilled her drink, creating a momentary distraction that allowed Samantha to press a small device on her wrist. The lights in the grand hall flickered for precisely 2 seconds, a malfunction that would later be attributed to power fluctuations. In those 2 seconds, everything changed. When the lights stabilized, the server drone lay deactivated on the floor. Jack still seated calmly beside the Queen as if nothing had happened. Solara noticed the drone but thought little of it. Such malfunctions occurred occasionally. What happened next, however, could not be ignored. 6. Dravex warriors suddenly shed their diplomatic disguises, their specialized camouflage technology deactivating to reveal battle armor and weapons. They moved with coordinated precision toward the royal table. Their intent, clear assassination. The royal guards responded immediately, moving to intercept. But the Dravex had planned well. Several more drones activated throughout the hall, creating chaos and blocking defensive positions. Solara rose from her throne, her own considerable combat skills. Preparing for battle, she expected her consort to cower or flee as any sensible being would when faced with elite Dravex assassins. Instead, Jack stood calmly, his posture shifting subtly as he moved between the Queen and the approaching threat. "Your Majesty," he said quietly, "please step back." Before she could respond to this unexpected request, the human moved. What happened next would be recorded in Vraxian historical archives and studied by military tacticians for generations. Jack moved with impossible speed, his body flowing like water between the attacking Dravex, his ceremonial robes concealing his movements until the last possible moment. The first assassin reached the platform. Plasma blade extended only to find the human had somehow slipped inside his guard, the assassin's own momentum carrying him forward. As Jack redirected his attack into another Dravex, 2 assassins fell before anyone fully registered what was happening. Across the hall, the human diplomatic team revealed their true capabilities as well. Samantha, Nicole, Mary, and Lily moved with similar precision, neutralizing threats, protecting civilians, and securing escape routes. Patricia, the military commander, stood frozen in shock as she watched the human consort disarm a Dravex warrior using techniques she had never seen before. His movements economical, lethal, and disturbingly beautiful. Jack fought with no wasted motion, no hesitation, his face showing the same calm expression he had maintained throughout the diplomatic mission, even as he executed combat maneuvers that should have been impossible for his species. In under 60 seconds, all 6 Dravex assassins had been neutralized, 3 dead, 2 unconscious, and 1 restrained for questioning. The grand hall fell silent as Jack returned to the Queen's side. His breathing only slightly elevated, his ceremonial robes now torn in several places, revealing glimpses of a physique far more developed than had been apparent. Solara stared at him, her 4 eyes wide, with shock and something else, a primal recognition that transcended species. "Who are you?" she demanded, her skin flashing colors of confusion and arousal. Jack bowed respectfully. "Forgive the deception. Your Majesty, I am Captain Jack Hunter, Special Forces, Earth Diplomatic Security Corps." Across the hall, Samantha approached, followed by her team, all of whom now moved with the unmistakable bearing of soldiers rather than diplomats. "We apologize for the necessary subterfuge, Your Majesty," Samantha said. "We had intelligence suggesting an assassination attempt was planned for the wedding. We could not risk revealing our true capabilities until necessary." Patricia approached, her warrior instincts now fully alert. "Impossible," she hissed. "No human could defeat Dravex assassins. They are augmented for combat." Jack remained silent, but Samantha smiled slightly. "Humans have many capabilities that we prefer to keep private, Ambassador." Consider this a demonstration of our commitment to the Queen's safety. And our alliance. Zalara looked at her consort with new eyes. Everything she had assumed about humans, their weakness, their simplicity, had been calculated misdirection. The implications were staggering. The royal chambers were eerily quiet as Zalara paced back and forth, her skin shifting between colors of agitation, confusion, and fascination. Jack stood at attention, his diplomatic persona now replaced by the unmistakable bearing of a warrior. You deceived me. The Queen finally spoke, her voice low and dangerous. Humans were supposed to be a weak species barely capable of defending their own world. Yet you, Jack, met her gaze without flinching. We revealed exactly what we needed to your majesty. Nothing more, nothing less. The audacity of his response should have enraged her. Vraxian consorts never spoke so boldly to their queens. Yet Zalara found herself intrigued rather than angry. Explain, she commanded, sitting on her massive throne, all forearms positioned in the royal posture of authority. Jack remained standing, his posture. Perfect humanity has encountered 17 different spacefaring species before the Vraxian Empire. Each time we were underestimated, each time that misconception proved advantageous. Across the palace, the human diplomatic team was meeting with the Royal Council, explaining similar truths that had been hidden from the Empire. Samantha leading the discussion with newly revealed authority. We allowed you to believe what you wish to believe, Jack continued. We appear physically weaker than many species, our technology less advanced, our military capabilities limited. He took a step forward, a move that would have been forbidden for a Vraxian consort. Reality is more complex, Your Majesty. Humans evolved on a death world. Our gravity higher than most inhabited planets. Our environment filled with predators, pathogens, and natural disasters that would exterminate most species. Zalara listened with growing fascination, her scientific education allowing her to process these claims with appropriate skepticism. Yet the evidence of her own eyes from the assassination attempt could not be denied. The Queen gestured to the data tablet on the nearby table. Show me. Jack activated the device, accessing files that had been hidden within the diplomatic database. Images appeared of Earth, its varied environments from Arctic wastelands to scorching deserts, dense jungles to towering mountains. Humans live and thrive in all these environments, Jack explained, without protective technology. The same adaptability that allows us to survive extremes enables us to learn, adapt, and overcome challenges, including those presented by more physically imposing species. Zalara studied the images, her scientific curiosity awakened. But this does not explain how you alone defeated 6 Dravex warriors. They are genetically enhanced for combat. Jack smiled slightly, the first genuine expression she had seen from him since his arrival. Enhancement has limitations. Your Majesty, reliance on augmentation creates predictability. Dravex warriors follow patterns programmed into their neural systems. Patterns we studied and countered across the palace. Patricia, the military commander, was reviewing security footage with increasing alarm. The human females who had presented as diplomats had demonstrated similar capabilities during the attack, moving with precision that suggested extensive combat training. Nicole, the supposed scientific liaison, had disabled 3 security drones with minimal effort, while Mary, the trade representative, had evacuated civilians with tactical efficiency in the royal chambers. Zalara continued her interrogation. Why send you as consort? Why this elaborate deception? Jack clasped his hands behind his back, a warrior at ease yet still alert. Our leadership determined that conventional diplomacy would fail with the Vraxian Empire. Your species respects strength above all else. We needed to demonstrate that strength in a way you would understand. The audacity of this plan stunned the Queen. Your entire species conspired to infiltrate my court. Not exactly, Your Majesty. Jack corrected. We offered genuine peace. The deception concerned only our capabilities, not our intentions. The marriage alliance is legitimate. My position as your consort equally so. Zalara stood towering over the human. You claim to be my true consort after revealing yourself as a warrior. Spy. Jack met her gaze unflinching. I am Captain Jack Hunter. Yes, but I was also selected specifically for compatibility with your personality and interests. The diplomatic mission is genuine, the alliance necessary for both our species. Before the Queen could respond, the communication panel chimed. With urgency, Donna appeared on screen, her skin pale with concern. Your Majesty, the humans have revealed additional information about their homeworld and capabilities. The Council requests your presence immediately across the palace. Samantha was presenting evidence that humanity had deliberately understated their technological advancement, revealing innovations that rivaled or exceeded Vraxian capabilities in several crucial areas. Sour faster than light drive is more efficient than yours, Samantha explained, allowing greater range with less exotic matter consumption. Our medical technology has eliminated 97% of natural diseases, and our cybernetic integration systems are generations beyond current Vraxian standards. The Council members shifted colors of shock and disbelief. This cannot be verified, protested one elder. Your kind barely left your solar system. Samantha activated a holographic display showing the true extent of human exploration unmapped by Vraxian sensors. We maintained a policy of minimal visibility. Your Excellence, our colony worlds exist in regions you considered uninhabitable. In the royal chambers, Zaylara processed these revelations with remarkable adaptability. Her species had evolved to conquer and dominate, but also to recognize worthy adversaries when encountered. You could have defeated us in open conflict, she stated, watching Jack carefully. Yet you chose alliance through marriage. Why? Jack nodded slightly, acknowledging the insight. Conflict between our species would have resulted in massive casualties on both sides. Humanity does not seek dominance, merely coexistence and mutual benefit. The Queen circled him, her scientific mind calculating probabilities, her warrior instincts assessing threats, and her royal training evaluating diplomatic implications. You are not what you presented yourself to be, consort. Nor are you, Your Majesty, Jack responded calmly. According to your own historical records, Vraxian queens were once warriors themselves before becoming primarily political figures. Zaylara stopped her circling, surprised by this observation. Few outside her species studied their ancient history. Your research is impressive. Across the palace, another revelation was unfolding as Lily, the cultural attaché, demonstrated previously undisclosed translation technology, capable of interpreting not just Vraxian language but the subtle color shifts of their skin that conveyed emotional states. We understand more than you realize, she explained to the astonished council members. Every negotiation, every private conversation contributed to our assessment of compatibility between our species. Patricia, the military commander, demanded access to human combat training, only to be politely but firmly declined by Mary. Such knowledge is shared only with proven allies, she explained, and trust requires time. In the royal chambers, Zaylara had reached a decision, her skin settling into the deep purple of determination. You will remain my consort, she declared, but our arrangement must be renegotiated. Jack bowed, acknowledging her authority. Of course, Your Majesty. The Queen moved closer, examining him with new awareness. You will train my royal guard in human combat techniques, share appropriate technological innovations, and serve as military advisor in addition to consort duties. The human smiled again, this time with genuine warmth, an expression Zaylara found strangely affecting. I accept these terms, Your Majesty, with one condition. No Vraxian consort would dare propose conditions, yet Zaylara found herself nodding for him to continue. The alliance must be genuine. Jack stated humans and Vraxians as equals, not conqueror and conquered, but true partners in galactic affairs. Across the palace, Samantha was making similar declarations to the council, presenting terms for alliance that would fundamentally alter the Empire's approach to expansion and governance. Zaylara studied the human before her everything she had believed about his species had been calculated misdirection, yet the core of their proposal, peace through strength and mutual respect, aligned with ancient Vraxian values long forgotten in their centuries of unchallenged conquest. I accept, she declared, her four eyes fixed on his two. Jack extended his hand in the human gesture of agreement. The Queen hesitated, then extended her lower right hand to complete the gesture. Neither species could have predicted what would happen next. News of the attempted assassination and the human consort's unexpected combat abilities spread throughout the Vraxian Empire with unprecedented speed. The court buzzed with speculation and revised assessments of the supposedly primitive species. 3 lunar cycles had passed since the incident, and the palace had transformed in subtle but significant ways. Human security personnel now worked openly alongside Vraxian guards, their distinctive fighting styles complementing each other. Xylara sat in the newly established Joint Council chamber, where representatives from both species gathered to discuss alliance matters. The Queen watched with interest as Jack presented tactical assessments of potential threats to the Empire. His status had evolved from decorative consort to respected advisor, a transition that initially caused outrage among traditionalists, but gradually earned acceptance as his insights proved valuable. Patricia, the military commander, had become his most vocal supporter. After witnessing human combat techniques firsthand, these creatures evolved on a predator world. She reminded critics their thinking is different, not inferior. Across the chamber, Samantha coordinated with Donna on diplomatic initiatives, her team now openly acknowledged as specialized operatives rather than mere diplomats, the pretense of their original roles abandoned in favor of honest expertise. Nicole and several Vraxian scientists had established a joint research facility where both species shared selected technologies, creating innovations neither would have developed independently. Mary worked with trade guilds, establishing new economic frameworks that leveraged the strengths of both civilizations, while Lily trained a new generation of cultural interpreters in the nuances of interspecies communication. Yet the most significant change occurred in the relationship between the Queen and her consort. Xylara had always viewed consorts as temporary amusements, political necessities without personal significance. Yet she found herself increasingly drawn to the human, his thinking so alien yet compelling. His physical form, initially dismissed as weak, now recognized as efficiently designed for different environmental pressures. In private chambers away from court politics, they engaged in lengthy discussions about governance philosophy and the nature of their respective species. "You rule through dominance," Jack observed during one such conversation, strength as the primary virtue. The Queen shifted colors of contemplation. "It is our evolutionary heritage. The strong survive and lead, the weak follow or perish." The human considered this. Humans evolved differently. Cooperation became our strength. Individuals with different abilities working together accomplish more than the strongest individual alone. This concept fascinated Xylara. A species that valued collective achievement over individual power contradicted everything Vraxians believed. Yet the evidence of human advancement, despite their physical limitations, could not be denied. Their conversations extended beyond governance to personal matters, Jack explaining human concepts of partnership and emotional connection, Xylara describing Vraxian traditions of lineage and genetic selection. Neither fully understood the other's perspective, yet both found value in the exchange, a unique diplomatic arrangement evolving into something neither species had anticipated. Meanwhile, the political landscape of the Empire transformed as reports arrived from other star systems. Humans had established contact with multiple species previously conquered by Vraxians, offering alliances and protection. The Dravex faction grew increasingly hostile to the human presence, viewing the alliance as weakness rather than strength. Their representatives making thinly veiled threats during council sessions. "We cannot allow primitive aliens to dictate imperial policy," declared their leader, her skin flashing aggressive. Patterns of red and blackjack observed these developments with concern, sharing intelligence with Samantha during secure communications. "The Dravex will not accept peaceful coexistence." He noted their entire power structure depends on continuous conquest. Samantha agreed, presenting updated security assessments to the Queen and Council. "Our intelligence suggests they are building support for a military coup." Patricia confirmed these reports with data from loyal military units the Empire faces potential civil war, Your Majesty, with the Dravex positioning themselves as defenders of traditional Vraxian values. This crisis point arrived sooner than expected, when Dravex forces seized control of 2 outer system military bases, declaring themselves the true guardians of Vraxian heritage. The council chamber erupted in chaos, accusations and counter-accusations flying between factions, some blaming humans for the discord, others calling for immediate military response. Xylara observed the disorder with growing irritation until Jack quietly approached the throne. "Your Majesty," he said softly, yet with clear purpose, "may I suggest a traditional Vraxian response to this challenge?" The Queen tilted her head with curiosity. Humans had consistently advocated diplomatic solutions, yet now her consort suggested embracing Vraxian traditions. "Speak," she commanded. Jack bowed respectfully. The Dravex claim to defend Vraxian heritage, yet they forget the ancient custom of royal challenge where a queen proves her right to rule through direct combat. The chamber fell silent as council members processed this suggestion. Patricia looked at the human with new respect. Ancient texts recorded such traditions, but they had not been invoked for centuries. Lara considered the proposal. Her four eyes narrowing. "You suggest I personally face the Dravex leader?" Jack nodded. The Dravex respect strength above all else. Defeat their champion in traditional combat and their support will crumble, their rebellion exposed as opportunism rather than principle. Donna protested immediately. "Your Majesty cannot risk herself in combat. We have armies for such purposes." But Patricia interrupted. "An army victory would not have the same symbolic power." She noted the ancient ways still hold meaning across the chamber. Samantha exchanged glances with her team. Their earlier intelligence assessments had predicted this exact scenario. The Dravex vulnerable to their own cultural expectations, Lara rose to her full height. Her skin shifting to patterns of royal authority not seen in generations. "I will issue the challenge," she declared. But with one modification. The council waited as the queen placed her lower right hand on Jack's shoulder. "My consort will stand as my champion, as is my right under ancient law." This announcement created new turmoil. Some council members protesting that a human could not represent the queen in sacred combat. Others arguing over interpretations of traditions so rarely invoked. Jack remained calm beside Lara, his expression neutral yet alert, as debate raged around them. Samantha approached the throne. "Your Majesty," she said quietly, "a joint challenge would be more effective, both you and your consort fighting together to demonstrate the alliance in action." The queen's skin flashed patterns of consideration before settling into deep royal purple. "Such a thing has never been done." "Precisely," Mary added from nearby, "which makes it impossible to reject, without the Dravex appearing fearful." Patricia nodded with growing enthusiasm. "The tactical advantages would be significant, your different fighting styles complementing each other." Lara studied her human consort, whose combat capabilities she had witnessed firsthand during the assassination attempt. His smaller size and different physiology, initially dismissed as weakness, now recognized as offering unique tactical advantages. "What say you, consort?" she asked. Jack met her gaze with the steady confidence that had increasingly earned her respect. "I would be honored to fight alongside you, Your Majesty." The formal challenge was issued within hours, transmitted throughout the Empire on all communication channels. Lara invoking ancient rites and traditions, demanding the Dravex leader meet her in ceremonial combat. The Queen's decision to include her human consort in the challenge created controversy throughout Vraxian society. Traditionalists outraged at the modification of sacred ritual, progressives intrigued by the symbolic unity it represented. The Dravex initially attempted to reject the human participants' inclusion, but found themselves trapped by their own rhetoric about preserving tradition. The ancient texts specified only that a queen's champion must be formally recognized by the court, not that they must be Vraxian. Preparations began immediately. Patricia overseeing combat training sessions where the queen and her consort developed fighting techniques that leveraged their different physiologies and abilities. Lara possessed superior strength, size, and natural weapons, while Jack contributed speed, unconventional tactics, and fighting styles unfamiliar to Vraxian opponents. Nicole provided specialized equipment, subtle enhancements that would not violate the traditional combat rules, while Mary and Lily managed public perception, ensuring the upcoming battle was framed as a defense of legitimate authority against treasonous rebellion. During these preparations, Lara discovered unexpected aspects of her human consort: his unwavering focus, his strategic mind, and most surprisingly, his absolute confidence in her abilities. Vraxian males typically feared female strength. Viewing it as threatening, Jack instead seemed to admire her power, working to complement rather than compete with it the night before the scheduled combat. The Queen found herself contemplating these differences in her private chambers when Jack arrived for final strategy discussions. Humans treat their mates differently than Vraxians, she observed. Jack nodded as equals, ideally partners rather than dominant and submissive. The ancient combat arena had not been used for royal challenges in 17 generations. Yet now it stood fully restored, gleaming under the light of Vraxia's 3 moons. The massive circular platform surrounded by tiered seating filled with representatives from every world in the Empire. Dignitaries, military commanders, and citizens of both species gathered to witness an event unprecedented in galactic history. A Vraxian queen and her human consort united in ritual combat against those who threatened. Their alliance, Zelara, entered the arena from the eastern gate as tradition dictated, her 9-foot frame, adorned with minimal ceremonial armor that showcased her natural weapons and iridescent scales. Her 4 eyes scanning the crowd with regal authority, her skin displaying patterns of royal confidence and battle readiness. Jack entered at her side, his smaller human form appearing almost fragile beside her. Yet those who had witnessed his capabilities during the assassination attempt knew better. His movements controlled his focus, absolute. Across the arena, the western gate opened, revealing their opponents. Vrax, leader of the rebellious faction, stood nearly 10 feet tall, her body enhanced with illegal combat modifications that stretched the boundaries of tradition. Her second, a male Vraxian of unusual size, similarly augmented. Whispers spread through the crowd at this display, some viewing it as dishonorable, others as tactical brilliance. Patricia observed from the command platform, alongside Samantha, both analyzing the opponents with professional detachment. The Dravex have modified themselves extensively, the military commander noted. They sacrifice mobility for power. Samantha nodded. That aligns with our psychological assessment. They expect to win through overwhelming force, not skill. In the center of the arena, a neutral elder recited the ancient laws of combat, her voice carrying across the silent crowd. The challenge will proceed until surrender, unconsciousness, or death. No weapons beyond natural biology and traditional armor are permitted. Jack and Zelara exchanged a final glance. No words needed between them, their strategy determined through days of intensive preparation. Their movements now synchronized through shared purpose. The signal was given, combat initiated. Vrax charged immediately, her massive form moving with surprising speed directly toward Zelara, her male second angling toward Jack in what appeared to be a standard Vraxian pincer attack. What happened next shocked the audience. Instead of retreating or defending, Zelara and Jack moved toward each other, the queen lifting her smaller consort with her lower arms and launching him high above the charging opponents. The unexpected maneuver disrupted the Dravex attack, Vrax hesitating for a crucial moment as Jack descended behind her, his trajectory placing him perfectly to strike vulnerable points at the base of her neck. The human moved with impossible precision, landing a series of rapid strikes that caused Vrax to roar in pain and frustration, while Zelara engaged the male second, using her superior reach to keep him at distance across the arena. Patricia smiled with approval. They trained well together, she observed to Donna, who watched with astonishment. Vrax recovered quickly her augmented strength, allowing her to spin and swipe at Jack with lethal claws that would have disemboweled him had they connected. Instead, the human flowed around the attack, his movements reminiscent of water rather than solid form. The male second, meanwhile, pressed his advantage of size against Zelara, driving her back toward the arena wall with relentless attacks that showcased his augmented strength. The queen appeared to be faltering, retreating under the assault, yet those who knew combat recognized the tactical withdrawal, drawing her opponent into overextension. When the male lunged for what he believed was an opening, Zelara used his momentum against him, a technique learned from Jack, redirecting rather than opposing force. The male crashed into the arena wall, momentarily stunned, allowing the queen to deliver a precise strike to neural clusters at the base of his skull. Across the arena, Jack continued his defensive strategy against Vrax, allowing her to exhaust herself with increasingly wild attacks, her frustration growing as the seemingly fragile human evaded every strike. The crowd watched in fascination as the battle unfolded, unlike any combat they had witnessed before. Vraxian power and human agility, creating a display that transcended traditional fighting styles. Samantha monitored the fight closely alongside Nicole. They maintained perfect synchronization, she noted. Nicole nodded, their training focused on complementary strengths rather than individual prowess. The turning point came when Xylara dispatched the male second with a final precise strike, rendering him unconscious but alive, a demonstration of control that impressed even her critics. The Queen then moved to join Jack against Vrax. The human, immediately adapting his strategy to complement her approach, Vrax found herself caught between opponents who seemed to anticipate her every move. The Queen attacking from one side, the human from another. Their movements so perfectly coordinated they appeared to share a single mind. In desperation, Vrax revealed a hidden weapon, a direct violation of combat law, a crystalline blade designed to penetrate Vraxian scales. The crowd gasped at this dishonor. Some rising to their feet in protest. Jack saw the weapon first, calling a warning to Xylara, even as he moved to intercept the treacherous attack. What happened next would be recorded in the histories of both species. The human deliberately placed himself in the path of the blade, accepting a wound that would have killed Xylara had it struck its intended target. The Queen's reaction was immediate and terrible, her skin flashing colors of rage never before witnessed in the imperial court. Her attack on Vrax so swift and precise that few could follow the movements. In seconds, Vrax lay defeated on the arena floor, the Queen standing victorious over her fallen opponent. One claw positioned for a killing strike. The arena fell silent, all eyes on Xylara, as she made her choice between traditional execution and mercy. The Queen looked to Jack, who despite his injury stood tall beside her. Their eyes meeting in silent communication, Xylara turned back to Vrax. Your defeat is witnessed, your dishonor recorded. You live only to serve as example that the old ways must evolve across the arena. Patricia nodded with approval. A new precedent has been established, she whispered to Donna, who watched with wide eyes. Medical teams rushed forward to tend to Jack, whose wound, though serious, was not life-threatening thanks to specialized armor Nicole had designed to protect vital areas. The crowd erupted in triumphant roars as Xylara raised her hands in victory. The ancient ritual complete, the challenge resolved, in favor of the Queen and her human consort on lunar cycle. Later, the palace hosted a ceremony unlike any in Vraxian history. Representatives from all 12 conquered systems gathered alongside human diplomats to witness the formal establishment of the Galactic Cooperative. Xylara presided from her throne, Jack now seated beside her, rather than below their positions, symbolizing the new relationship between their species. Samantha presented the formal alliance documents, her role as Earth Ambassador, now openly acknowledged today, marks the beginning of a new era. She declared not of conquest but of cooperation. Across the chamber, Patricia and Nicole unveiled the first joint military and scientific initiatives programs designed to benefit all member worlds. Mary and Lily introduced cultural exchange protocols, while Donna guided the former conquered worlds through transition to partner status. The transformation of the Empire had begun not through defeat, but through alliance, through strength recognized and respected between different species. That evening in private royal chambers, Xylara and Jack stood on the balcony overlooking the capital city, the three moons illuminating the landscape. Your wound heals well, the Queen observed, her lower right hand resting gently on the bandaged area. Jack nodded. Human medical technology combined with Vraxian regenerative compounds accelerated the process. Xylara studied him with all four eyes. When you intercepted that blade, you knew the risk, yet you did not hesitate. Why? The human met her gaze on Earth. We have a saying, protecting those we care for is not a choice but an instinct. The Queen considered this, her scientific mind processing the implications. Humans form attachments differently than Vraxians. Not so differently. Jack corrected. Your histories suggest Vraxian queens once chose consorts for qualities beyond genetics. Your ancestors valued connection as well as strength. Xylara turned to face the night sky, contemplating how much had changed in such short time. The Empire transforming, the Queen herself evolving in unexpected ways. Nicole reports, our genetic structures are compatible, she said finally, her skin shifting to colors of possibility, though adaptation would be required for viable offspring. Jack smiled. Such challenges never stopped humans before. Across the galaxy, other species watched these developments with interest and some concern, as the Vraxian Empire reformed into something new, a power balanced between conquest and cooperation. strength and wisdom, and in the royal nursery. 3 cycles later, attendants marveled at the first hybrid child born of human and Vraxian genetics, a daughter with her mother's iridescent skin and her father's eyes. Patricia, now serving as royal protector, stood guard alongside Samantha as diplomats and scientists from 17 worlds gathered to witness the naming ceremony. The child represents hope. Mary whispered to Lily, who recorded the event for historical archive show. And something more, Donna added, something neither species could have achieved alone.